A repeat of a matchup here 2 years ago, won by Connors. Connors has 68 match wins here at Wimbledon, an all-time men's singles record against the 25-year-old McEnroe, trying to become the first American since Don Budge 46 years ago to win back-to-back Wimbledon titles. The gentlemen's final coming up live from center court on NBC Sports.
Good morning and welcome to Center Court. Dick Enberg with Bud Collins. The men's championship, Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe. What you have for breakfast?
Breakfast. Who can eat before a Wimbledon final? I'm too nervous.
I wonder how McEnroe and Connors feel. Connors almost 32. He'd be one of the older champions if he's successful today. And McEnroe trying to become the first American since Tilden back some 50 years ago to win 3 championships.
Well, I don't buy that old age stuff with Jimmy Connors at all. Here is a guy who does the unexpected. I call him the center court bandit. Just as in the semifinals, he took out the much younger Ivan Lendl, outlasted him. 2 years ago, the bandit, in 5 sets, stole the title from John McEnroe. McEnroe was 3 points away from the championship. 4 points to 3 in the 4-set tiebreaker. Connors wins it in 5, 4 hours and 16 minutes, the longest final ever.
But McEnroe's been almost unbeatable all year. In fact, he's lost only one time. That was to Ivan Lendl in 5 sets. You saw it on NBC, the French Open. The weather, it's beautiful now. Hot, a little steamy. There is a forecast of possible thundershowers later this afternoon. So that's a story from center court. Now to Len Berman in New York.
Thank you, Dick Enberg, and good morning again, everybody. Some baseball for you to go along with your tennis breakfast. Late last night, San Diego did it again, Pittsburgh did it again, and they did it against each other. Here's the only run of the game, Tony Gwynn for San Diego. He hits it, and out in center field, Marvell Wynn cannot come up with it. Wiggins scores all the way from first, 1-0 San Diego. They now lead by 5 games out west. National League East, the New York Mets lead now by 1/2 game. They won, Cubs lost. Mets are back on top in the East. It was Dwight Gooden against Mario Soto of the Reds. Gooden won out. 8 strikeouts for the All-Star rookie last night. Here's another Met All-Star, Darryl Strawberry. His 11th homer of the year to go with 4 RBIs, 14-4 Mets over Cincinnati. The White Sox have taken over sole possession of first place in the American League West. They did it by winning their 6th straight, 4-2 over Lance Parrish. Hit this homer in the 7th inning, his 16th of the year. Tigers also scored on 3 bases-loaded walks. Their lead.
Sports presents Wimbledon 1984, a fortnight of tradition. The Lawn Tennis Championships are brought to you by Cadillac Motor Car Division and your Cadillac dealer. By Cigna, whose companies provide insurance and financial services around the world. By Apple, makers of Macintosh, the computer you already know how to use. And by the incredible Bic Shaver. You'll get days and days of close shaves with a 20-cent Bic. The renewal of the oldest championship of tennis. Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe match.
Gentlemen,
Connors, the challenger, number 3 seed. This was his route to the finals against McEnroe.
San Franciscan Lloyd Bourne, that was straight sets. Then a Swede, Stefan Simonsen, also straights. Marty Davis out of San Jose took a set from Jimmy Connors in a breaker. Then Tim Mayotte, the Springfield Rifle, won the first set, and Connors turned him around. Mayotte had never failed to get to the quarterfinals before. Then it was the Paul Annacone story, and what a wonderful story for Paul, a qualifier out of East Hampton, New York, who got all the way to the quarters, and then he met Jimmy Connors. Finally in the semis, Ivan Lendl, and Connors outlasted him.
And for the defending champion, John McEnroe, at age 25 and at the top of his game, losing only 1 set in the tournament.
That was in the opening round to the Australian, whom he beat yesterday in doubles, Paul McNamee. Then Rodney Harmon from Richmond, Virginia, quarterfinalist in the U.S. Open 2 years ago. Wally Masur, youngster from Canberra, Australia. Billy Scanlon, who beat McEnroe in the Open, U.S. Open last year. John Sadri, who was his final round opponent in the 1978 NCAA Championships. And finally, in the semifinals, Patrick Cash, the unseeded Australian.
The umpire, David Mercer, about to become a BBC radio sportscaster. He'll work for the British Radio Network. He is a lawyer from Nottingham, University of Nottingham, and honored here perhaps in his last role as a tennis official, as he'll move into the broadcast booth, so he can't be all bad.
Well, Jimmy Connors, as his wife Patty looks on, must be thinking returns. There's Dick Dell, an old Wimbledon player himself, next to Patty. He's got to keep the ball low on John McEnroe against serve to put McEnroe into difficult volleying position. Connors may also use the lob because McEnroe crowds the net so much, and the lob was very effective in the quarterfinal against Paul Annacone. The serve of McEnroe, how well he does it,
ladies and gentlemen,
and how well Connors returns it.
McEnroe to serve.
The defending champion will open the match.
The serve is the big instrument. This serve.
The first serve percentage will be a statistic that we'll watch very carefully. You'll recall in Paris when McEnroe lost his only match of this entire year.
Quiet.
It was in the late sets after he'd won the first two that the first service began to fail. Lendl rallied and won the French in 5.
Totally different court from what you saw early in the championships when it was emerald green.
$131,000 at stake for the winner, but the prestige of being Wimbledon champion worth much more than that to these two men.
30 love.
Temperature shows that we're close to 90 degrees again, and it's much more humid today.
40
Ace for McEnroe, who so rarely throughout this entire year has lost his service, and that's the key for Connors. One of the better returns, if not the best return of service male pro in the world. But McEnroe handcuffs him with that big serve to win the opening game.
We could show you a successful person worried about taxes, finances, and investments. But at Cigna, we have a program of financial planning to help people keep more of their money and more effectively manage the money they keep. And the peace of mind this has made possible has frequently been so great, it's produced results every bit as dramatic as this. Cigna, no one does more to solve problems.
The final basket. Match point. The last lap. Right now, your body's thirsty for more than water. It needs Thirst Aid. Gatorade.
Gatorade is Thirst Aid for that deep down body thirst.
When you exercise, you lose more than water. You lose potassium, minerals, fluids. Gatorade puts it all back fast. It's no ordinary thirst quencher. It's Thirst Aid.
Gatorade is Thirst Aid for that deep down body thirst.
Connors to serve.
Connors unable to win a point on McEnroe's opening serve. His first chance.
Wow, and McEnroe was going right up on the return of the first serve.
Love.
Court, as we see it today on this 13th day of play, the final day of the fortnight, and we're going to show you what it looked like back in day one. 15 all from this condition
15 all.
and the wear and tear of play. And on opening day, before the very first ball was hit, beautiful green, lush as any golf green might be, but it's not worn and torn, it's just bruised. Ooh, good return.
15-30.
Now Connors, Bud has shown that he's going to attack behind the serve early on.
Oh, what a good return.
15-40.
McEnroe with a double break point on Connors' first serve.
Wow, 3-4 McEnroe.
McEnroe making it look easy as he has so much of this year.
First set.
Powerful forehands on the return to take a 2-love lead. It is difficult to follow the ball. The white ball used here at Wimbledon, and when it picks up the green grass stain, you're really seeing a green ball on a green background. So sometimes it is difficult to follow the ball. We apologize for that, and it's our hope that someday the All England Club might go to the yellow ball, which should help some. But tradition is held through 84.
A lot of action on that serve.
Here we are in the third game, Bud, and Connors has only 1 point. Last 5 times McEnroe has beaten Connors. In fact, Connors has not taken a set from McEnroe. 13 straight for McEnroe coming into this championship. So Connors facing a man that most recently has been certainly dominant.
Out. 15-all.
When a man gets this close to the net and can volley like John McEnroe to lift a low ball to deepen your own court for a winner, you have a problem.
30-15.
40-15. Game, McEnroe.
7 ace for McEnroe. It's been all John McEnroe the first 3 games.
The Cadillac of tomorrow is here with new aerodynamic styling, door-into-roof design, and comfort for 6. In Fleetwood and DeVille for 85. With new front-wheel drive and responsive V8 power when you need it. All backed by Cadillac's special new limited warranty. Drive the Cadillac of tomorrow at your Cadillac dealer today.
Best of all, it's a Cadillac.
This is a highly sophisticated business computer, and to use it, all you have to do is learn this. This is Macintosh from Apple, also a highly sophisticated business computer, and to use it, all you have to do is learn this. Now, you decide which one is more sophisticated. Macintosh, the computer for the rest of us.
John McEnroe winning the first 3 games, and Connors managing just 2 points. Connors to serve.
Jimmy left here 2 nights ago, all cramped up. Felt terrible when he returned to his hotel after beating Ivan Lendl, but it's 2 days later now, and he says he's okay. McEnroe, if you remember yesterday, came in for the doubles final alongside Peter Fleming with his right thigh heavily strapped. He had a slightly strained hamstring. But in the 5th set, McEnroe removed the bandage, played the 5th set without it, and reported that everything was fine there.
Yeah, the art of playing on grass, being able to serve and volley and handle some tricky hops. There'll be some balls that won't bounce, and the talent of these 2 men to be able to hit the bad bounce and still keep it in play. Record crowd again today. In fact, they broke the all-time record yesterday. This is just all a bonus in terms of the record book.
40-15.
Of course, they've added a day to the program. That's why they broke the overall attendance record, because there just isn't any room, really, for much more. They're up to, what, 374?
So they'll hit around the 400,000 mark for the tournament. First time that Connors hasn't gotten his first serve in.
Oh, game point. Now McEnroe decides to come in on his favorite play, the second serve, attacking, but Connors is getting into it. I don't feel that this is going to be another execution as we witnessed last year for breakfast of Chris Lewis.
McEnroe needing only an hour and a half to dispose of him in 3 easy sets.
Ooh! That's that anticipation of Connors. He's guessing forehand, backhand, excuse me, and he's correct.
So far, a rally is defined as 2 hits, a serve and a return.
Out. 15-all.
This court is so fast, it gets faster every day as the heat continues. And so it's playing differently today from what it played yesterday. And they've got to get used to it and the pace.
30-15.
That ball taking a terrible bounce.
Connors going for it, fouls it off behind him.
That's a rare picture for that to happen to Connors.
Ooh. So this is Jimmy Connors painting John McEnroe's toenails. And that's the kind of return he's got to make.
30-all. McEnroe serving 3-1, first set. Pleased you're settled in and enjoying breakfast at Wimbledon with us.
First play for the net judge, middle right of your screen, Fortescue frame.
$40-30.
men with 2 Wimbledon championships, so one or the other will equal Bill Tilden's mark, 3 titles, the only American to do so.
Game, McEnroe.
4-1. The defending champion, McEnroe, in the first set.
It's the power of Jimmy Connors. In a revolutionary racket from Wilson, it's the control of a champion. In a remarkable new design, it's Wilson Pro Staff, designed with the help of Jimmy Connors.
It's light with incredible power.
Kevlar and graphite.
It's control when you want it.
Exclusive perimeter weighting.
It's got power, control. It's perfect. Pro Staff from Wilson, keeping you ahead of the game.
Communication. Communication is what separates the serious investor from an investor. Communication with a financial consultant about what makes you feel comfortable and uncomfortable. It is this communication that will ultimately determine how satisfied you'll be, which is why we recommend so adamantly you invest your time with us before you invest your money with us. Shearson Lehman, American Express, and the serious investor. Minds over money.
Just when you thought you saw the best in basketball, along come the greats in basketball. Kelly Tripucka, Michael Jordan, and great matchups. Ralph Sampson and Patrick Ewing. The U.S. Olympic basketball team takes on the NBA All-Stars live on NBC Sports World.
Consistent with the weather of this fortnight, another hot, humid day. Quite in contrast to the years where we saw the rain gear and umbrellas.
15 love.
Both men attacking, so we've not had a rally yet. First to the net, the name of this game. Whoops. First double fault.
All.
Well, this is Sunday punch tennis on Sunday. Just throw your best, whang it away, and see who drops. No subtlety as yet. Where's McEnroe? McEnroe was very slow to take advantage of a good lob, but when he did, gone.
The first rally goes to McEnroe.
30-all.
Jimmy way down. Now McEnroe, deceptive, and Connors. Now look at McEnroe, lag. But you really never can question his court position because he can do things from outlandish positions according to the textbook.
And a break point for McEnroe. Already had 4-1 in the match.
And there was the Connors tactic we saw so much against Lendl, used by McEnroe. The sneak volley. The sudden darting in when his foe is addressing the ball.
We talked about the position of McEnroe yesterday in doubles. Some would call it unorthodox, playing in spots where you'd never find yourself, but he is such an extraordinary talent that he can hit the ball mid-flight from any spot and seems to know all the angles.
And what a return by McEnroe, gunning from the hip.
McEnroe.
The ball so close to him, and yet a splendid return.
second break point in this game for McEnroe.
McEnroe
as he out-rallies Connors and takes a 5-1 lead.
McEnroe leads by
Serving
5
now
games
for
to
the
1.
first set.
First set.
We mentioned that McEnroe has beaten Connors 13 consecutive sets, and in those 13, Connors has won an average of 2.5 games. So that means, figure it out, it's a lot of 6 to 2.5s, and that is a considerable advantage to McEnroe.
15 love. First service.
McEnroe on his service, this is his 4th service opportunity, has allowed only 3 points against serve.
Out. 30 love. Love.
He's a great player, but perhaps he has saved his best tennis ever for this championship. He has strung together one impressive show after another.
Ah. .40-15.
Jimmy Connors resorts to soft stuff on this point. Now, just waiting until McEnroe committed to his own left down the line, and then Connors rolls it cross court.
2 set points left for McEnroe.
Whew.
Well, the feisty Connors has knocked off 2 of those set points. McEnroe at 40-35-1.
Game first set. McEnroe.
His third ace finishes off the set. John McEnroe, 6-1.
When IBM personal computer owners look for good software, where can they turn? To IBM for programs that help you keep up with modern times. Business programs, entertainment, productivity, education, and more. The variety you want with the quality you expect in the growing library of IBM personal computer software. A well-balanced selection at a store near you.
The financial world. Here you need a Paine-Webber broker to guide you, because investing is like being on the receiving end of a Jimmy Connors serve. Paine-Webber will coach your every move to help you turn the unpredictable to your advantage. At Paine-Webber, we believe that the quality of life just might depend on the quality of your investments.
Well played, Bob. Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you, Paine-Webber. What do I have to do? Open up a Paine-Webber account?
The Royal box.
And the Duke of Kent on the left has set a royal record today. Back-to-back topless days. He removes his coat. He's there next to Reginald Edward
Second set.
Hawk
Connors to serve.
Hattingham, better known as Buzzer, the chairman of the championships. The Duke of Kent is the president of the All England Club. The protocol is if he removes his coat, everyone else in the box may do so. He did it yesterday, he did it today. The only other time in history was during the 1976 heat wave.
Love 15.
First set statistics. When And McEnroe serving up there 76%. His opponent is in big trouble, and so it was for Connors, losing 6-1. 8-4 McEnroe on winners. Aces 3-0. McEnroe did not make an error, an unforced error in that entire set. Impeccable. It climbs over for love 30. A reminder that Connors in this championship did lose the opening set twice and managed to rally in 4. One of those, of course, Devon Lendl in the semifinals.
Ooh. He'll get it. Connors had to do a lot to win this point because McEnroe was dogging him. Good volley, but McEnroe ran it down. Not a bad volley. McEnroe runs it down again. And McEnroe still makes the recovery, but misses with the passing shot, and not by much.
15-30. Double fault to 15-40, and Connors losing 6-1 in the opening set, and now his second double fault puts McEnroe at 2 break chances to open the second, and Connors can ill afford to fall behind so quickly to the favorite opponent, McEnroe.
Skyhook. Oh. Connors is straining like this with the skyhook for everything he gets, which isn't very much so far.
And McEnroe showing his great lateral movement, getting to every ball. McEnroe, he breaks Connors to start the second set. So far, all McEnroe.
You probably don't know all the quality products that Manville makes. From their own forests, Manville makes lumber, plywood, and paper products, and a very diverse line of colorful consumer packaging products. Manville also mines a remarkable mineral called diatomite that filters your beverages clear and clean, makes your paint flat or lustrous, and even makes your plastic bags easier to handle. Fact is, there are hundreds of quality Manville products from the earth and from the forest. Manville products that make your house a home.
You have to draw the line someplace. Then cross over it. That's how new ideas start. How new worlds open up. Technology from a company called TRW helps chart new worlds. Today we draw the line where it has never been before. Tomorrow, we'll cross over it. Tomorrow is taking shape at a company called TRW.
Following our breakfast at Wimbledon, NBC Sports World, a chance for you to check out the 1984 U.S. Olympic basketball team. Jordan, Ewing, Tisdale, Perkins, Mullen, Wood, Alford, Bobby Knight, the coach against NBA All-Stars scheduled are Kelly Tripucka, Drexler, Ainge, Kellogg, Williams, and more. So stay with us after tennis. The 84 U.S. Olympic basketball team on parade.
15 love.
Connors broken 3 times in his 4 service chances.
All. Connors running around the backhand and with good effect. somehow he needs to break serve. That could pump a lot of confidence again. Football called.
And that's the first time in the championship that McEnroe has been called for the foot fault, although last year it happened several times.
Let's look. Well, it's a tough one to call. I don't think he ever foot faults. He's been called. Barely dug that out of his ribs, but McEnroe's half volley is not good enough.
15-30. So a small opening for Connors. It's the first time that he has been ahead in a game when McEnroe was serving.
McEnroe's serve is just devastating. Practically tore through that steel racket of Jimmy Connors. The old style racket he's been using since 1967.
So McEnroe serving over 76% first serves in. And you recall in Paris, he was down below 50% when the match finally ended. And when McEnroe's over 60%, he rarely is defeated. Game point.
Okay,
and McEnroe holds to take a 2-love lead.
McEnroe leads by 2 games to love. Second set.
Well, Jimmy is under fire. What his hope is that McEnroe just can't stay at this height throughout a match. If he does, of course, no one has a chance.
Love 15.
McEnroe much more active and much more effective at the net. Connors only 4 out of 10 points. Well, yesterday we saw the dominant player in women's tennis, Martina Navratilova. And today it's John McEnroe, and so far, what a show.
Gee.
Love 30.
The French Open, when they met in the semifinals, late in the first set, the set won by McEnroe 7-5. That was when Connors, remember, came up and chastised McEnroe, said, behave, shut up, I have a son that behaves like you, that sort of thing. And McEnroe did. He was quiet, and then from there on won 6-1, 6-2. And I wonder if that isn't still in the back of his mind. He then destroyed Connors at Queen 6-2, 6-2, and he's well ahead here in the Wimbledon final today.
First service.
And for those of you who have not been with us, it has been a McEnroe that has been not only brilliant in play, but as described today in the London Times, a gentleman on court. No ill behavior. He's really been well-mannered.
A lot of people have been upset that he hasn't been upset.
15-40.
Live from Wimbledon at 2:42 in the afternoon. And John McEnroe playing as if he wants to get ready for the championship party early. Connors struggling to hold his serve.
30-40. Duke.
Now, Connors has been serving predominantly to McEnroe's forehand. This time he goes to the backhand. It pays. His hook serve, of course, goes right into the left-handed forehand.
Connors fighting off 2 breaks to get to deuce.
McEnroe keeps it going with a wonderful return, but here he's reaching like a guy probing in the garden with a hoe and makes a winner.
Quite.
Third break chance for McEnroe in this third game. And a good serve from Connors. This then becoming the longest game of the match, and Connors trying to capture the second game of the 10 played. Just joined us. McEnroe breezed through the first set 6-1 and leads 2-love here in the second.
Oh, net card.
Advantage McEnroe.
Forces a mumble from Connors, and for McEnroe, everything going right. His fourth break chance in this game.
Game McEnroe.
Connors has been broken 4 times in his 5 chances.
It only happens once a year when Volkswagen announces the new German-engineered Wolfsburg limited edition Rabbit. It's specially priced and loaded with so many special features that, well, you know how fast Volkswagens go. These Volkswagens will go twice as fast. Of course, some people already know that. Wolfsburg limited edition Rabbit. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen.
We know it would be more dramatic to see someone recuperating from surgery in a hospital bed. But hospital rooms cost up to $672 a day. And at Cigna, we've saved many clients a lot of money by making it attractive for people who can get just as well at home to stay at home. So, to a company with high medical expenses, what you're looking at is a thrilling picture. Cigna, no one does more to solve problems.
The Challenge Cup, symbolic of the Wimbledon Gentlemen's Championship. John McEnroe's name on there 2 times, Connors twice. The winner today will join Bill Tilden as the only American to win this coveted championship 3 times. And John McEnroe, in a hurry, has a set and a 3-love lead and serving here in the second.
15-love.
That cup never leaves the clubhouse, but the champion does receive a small replica.
4th ace. And McEnroe yet to make an unforced error in the match.
$30-love.
Well, if you were writing a book on how to play 1984 tennis, the last 38 minutes would be a good start, featuring John McEnroe. He's authored an almost perfect display of tennis.
40-love.
5th ace. And there's a man that returns as well as anyone in the game.
Waiting for McEnroe to cool. If he does.
Another ace. So Jimmy Connors, McEnroe has served 6 times, and in those 6 service chances, Connors has won a total of 7 points on McEnroe's serve. So the crowd now rooting for Connors to do something, give them a chance to cheer for him. First serve percentage both high, but when McEnroe is over 80% now.
15 love.
Connors has to get the ball somehow to McEnroe's backhand as he did there, which is not very easy for a left-hander, and McEnroe does it better than Connors does, getting it over to the left-hander's backhand.
Second service.
And another double fault for Connors. His third. Total points almost 2-1 to McEnroe.
With the backhand volley, McEnroe will handle it, but he pulls himself right out of the picture. And this crowd waiting for anything that Jimmy can give them.
(30-15).
40-15.
Jimmy's best point.
And Connors has his first game of the second set. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
The Associated Press called Summer Sunday USA daring, provocative, and alive. All that live TV is supposed to be. Summer Sunday USA. It's live and alive.
Are you fed up with cable TV promises? You don't have to take it anymore. There's one service with all the movies, exclusive live sports, and adult films. If you want great television back, call On TV. Installation is just $19.95. You'll save $30, and we're so sure you're gonna love us. We're offering a 15-day money-back guarantee if you order On now.
Martina Navratilova, 1983 Wimbledon. 1983 U.S. Open. 1983 Australian Open. 1984 French Open. She won them all. The Grand Slam. Ultimate achievement in tennis. Her racket is Yonex.
Watch Polo Plus, a KNBC special, today at 5.
The sun cover being employed here by more than 14,000 at famed center court on a Sunday afternoon. Temperature near 90 degrees and the humidity much higher than in previous days. And for Jimmy Connors, almost ducking for cover the way John McEnroe has dominated to this stage. And again, McEnroe, that first service in, he has it so well grooved, over 80%, and with such a brilliant service, you can only hope for a couple of second balls, and Connors hasn't had many chances.
Well, he's down. but he'll win the point. A musical chairs point this is. McEnroe sits down, but he says, I better get up and win the game.
Well, this has been a truly remarkable total performance by John Patrick McEnroe.
Seated and standing.
40 love.
Well, we've had 3 of those wonderful volleys of McEnroe's. Spinach fingers. Just so loose and limp, and yet so much strength.
Well, the shortest final 37 minutes, that goes way back before the turn of the century. The longest was just 2 years ago when these two men were matched. 4 hours and 16 minutes. Certainly not headed in that direction today. Played 45 minutes. And John McEnroe is only a point and a game away from a 2-set lead.
Slipped again, and Connors has a chance as McEnroe loses his footing to hit the ball to an open court and losing his own. This court is slick, fast, and now at 40-30, that sit-down point, which Connors should have won had the open court, seems all the more important.
And the big serve by McEnroe to take a 5-1 lead. Wimbledon 84 is brought to you by Shearson Lehman and American Express. By AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound. By light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by Team Xerox, the right products and the right people, all working together. Dick Enberg with Bud Collins, Charlie Jones, Stan Smith, Joanne Russell. Breakfast at Wimbledon, and Jimmy Connors serving 1-5 in the second set, down a set. On the line. This is a clinic.
Well, the ball is coming through so fast, and McEnroe handling it on the rise as though bored. Just flicking at it, feathering it.
46 minutes into the match. 3 points from a 2-set lead, McEnroe.
15-all.
Well, in Paris, McEnroe took Yvonne Lendl quickly in the first 2 sets, not as easily as he's handling Connors today. And then something happened in that third set. McEnroe became tired, and Lendl rallied to win that dramatic French championship a month ago. But this is McEnroe's surface. He's even a better player on grass.
Oh.
(15-30).
80% of McEnroe's points won on first service. Connors about half. Now, Connors' best hope is that McEnroe will just lose touch with his service and give him a few chances on a second ball. Double set point for McEnroe.
And McEnroe, as Patty Connors shares her husband's anguish, McEnroe returning the way I suggested that Connors would have to return. Making Jimmy stick his nose in the dirt, low.
again. Service fault called, but returned by McEnroe. Had Connors' chin on the grass.
At court again.
Game, second set,
McEnroe, 6-1, 6-1. The defending champion a set away from another victory.
Greenfield Village. Looks like a typical small town, wouldn't you say? With its small hardware store, its small clothing store, small post office, and small people with small ideas. Oh, you don't think so? Well, Xerox doesn't think so either. They've never liked the word small. They much prefer growing. And Xerox thinks that a growing business should be treated just as well as a more established business. They've even formed a team of machines and people to help businesses of all sizes. It's called Team Xerox. Yes, I know. You think Xerox is just doing it for themselves. Well, they probably wouldn't disagree. You see, they feel that somewhere in a little shop like this, they might find the same kind of growing businessman that started right here. And did he have a big idea?
The right information in the right place at the right time with the right team to make them all work together. From Xerox.
The American tradition continues. For 15 summers, baseball's resident genius, Earl Weaver, managed Baltimore to 4 American League pennants. Now, Joe Altobelli leads the world champion Orioles in their drive to regain pennant fever as they take on the White Sox. Or the Giants battle the Pirates. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
6-1, 6-1, and John McEnroe in quest of his 3rd Wimbledon championship and successive titles is a set away and serves to open the 3rd set.
This is the court where they were first introduced. McEnroe, 7 years ago, 18-year-old qualifier, gets to the semi, said, I didn't know Jimmy Connors, and Connors said, I certainly didn't know him. They shook hands, and Connors won the semi. Oh, and Jimmy gets that bad bounce. He makes himself into a question mark to make the return. This is the final point, the set point in the 2nd set. Another net cord ball, just like the one which helped break him in the 1st game of the set, and you can see his distress.
Another ace. That's the 7th for McEnroe. Through 2 sets, all McEnroe, 81% first serve. Perhaps he's not served better ever, and saved it for this Wimbledon championship. 2-1 in winners. Unforced errors through 2 sets, not an unforced error. CompuTennis statistic, and well ahead on aces.
Well, this court is playing like the Bonneville Salt Flat. And the balls, particularly McEnroe's serve, coming through like racing cars. I've never seen the court so fast.
Another first serve in, and another love game on serve for McEnroe. Goodness, is he dominating this final.
First game.
If you're just starting out in business, Team Xerox can help with a choice of small copiers or memory writer typewriters. And as you grow bigger, we offer you personal computers and larger copiers. And as you grow even bigger, we offer integrated workstations, electronic printers, and service second to none. So is Team Xerox better for small companies or large corporations? It depends on your point of view.
Breakfast at Wimbledon, and of course we have the mixed doubles championship to follow this one. It's basketball and a chance for you to see how that U.S. Olympic team is developing under Coach Bobby Knight. They play a select group of NBA All-Stars. Don Crickey and our buddy Coach Al McGuire on hand right after breakfast at Wimbledon.
Quiet now, thank you.
Well, here is the game for James Scott Connors. Can he stay close in this set?
Love 15.
Connors fans might be heartened by a 1981 score in this town. He lost the first 2 sets to McEnroe in the final at Wembley, an indoor tournament. 1981, but won the championship. That was a match in which both men were fine, bickering at each other.
15-all.
On a court with so many difficult bounces, don't you find that a remarkable statistic? No unforced errors from McEnroe through 2 sets.
Well, it's an unbelievable statistic. There would never, ever have been anything like that. 2 sets of unforced errors.
Connors holding serve only twice in 7 attempts.
$30-15.
Connors needs this game. He's like a fighter who's been down 5 or 6 times. He's just trying to get out of the round on his feet. Cannot afford a break here to open the 3rd set.
First service.
He lost his service twice in the opening set and 3 times in the 2nd set, and served to start that set and was immediately broken. 30-15, second ball.
Let.
2 lets. Fortescue frame.
First
in the play with his earphones, which should buzz if he hears the tape. Not listening to Mike Jackson.
Or Dave Bowie.
40-15.
40-15. A couple of game points for Connors.
It's wide.
40-30.
It is tough volleying the returns that McEnroe is delivering. Everything is tough. Jimmy Connors wandering in a minefield.
First service.
Well, when someone is playing the perfect game against you, then even a great player might tend to try some things that he normally wouldn't, miss shots that would usually be made.
Well, Connors had to play a perfect point himself. That wasn't an easy point. Connors has to stretch, and then he's going to have to stretch again.
Again, McEnroe making the perfect shots, and indeed Connors' agility alone saved him that game. So it's 1-all.
And it's the first time that Connors has been competitive in a set at 1 game all.
And he also has assured himself of not going in the record book as at least games won in a Wimbledon final, which the record being 2. Last time, Connors nicked by that serve. Baron von Kram in 1936 only took 2 games from the winner Fred Perry of England.
15 love.
That final went 6-1, 6-1, 6-love, and significant in that they are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Perry's first championship here at Wimbledon. Perry winning 3 in a row, and here today to watch this men's final, the last Englishman to win this championship.
And Baron Gottfried von Kram, a supreme sportsman, was injured. He couldn't move during the final. He had a badly torn hamstring and insisted on playing the final.
Oh. 15-all.
McEnroe coming in, always at the ready to handle the heat, just like that, but Connors returned too much for him.
15-all.
$30-15.
Last year against Chris Lewis, the 90th ranked, virtually unknown, unseeded player in the final. We expected this kind of carnage, but not today. McEnroe, wow.
1 hour of perfect tennis.
40.
And he continues to be so dominant with his service, allowing only 10 points to Connors in the entire match when he's been on the service line. 40-15.
Hold!
Gee.
Game to McEnroe. He leads 2-1 in the third set.
McEnroe leads by 2 games.
As a coach, I'm often asked, what are the benefits that players receive from a Prince racket? Ken Carlson's strength is his topspin from both sides. The Prince racket has added to that strength.
This racket is very good, so I can do very good topspin with it. You can play with slice. You can do everything with the racket.
The Prince racket gives you the ability to hit with control, topspin, and hit that serve with added power. It's the racket of the times. It's a racket that everybody wants to play with.
Play Prince. You'll never play anything less.
Why American business trusts Emery.
When my designs are late, buyers don't give us a second chance. Emery's international service goes door to door, fast.
Emery delivers all our tapes to the networks, because if they're not there, they don't get on air. And guess who pays for it?
Sending hundreds of contracts across the country is a huge responsibility. We share that responsibility with Emery.
Over 1 million customers trust Emery to deliver. Call Emery. We've earned the trust of American business.
Welcome to center court at Wimbledon. Uncle Studley barely digesting his breakfast.
I hope Uncle Studley is up. He was going to have a breakfast today honoring McEnroe and Connors. That's Devil's Food Cake and Irish coffee, heavy on the John Jameson.
Well, Jimmy Connors serving. Down 1-2, but on serve in this third set after McEnroe ripped off 6-1, 6-1 sets to take a commanding lead in this 84 championship of Wimbledon.
Oh, it's out.
Just out.
15 love.
Unforced errors. It's hard to believe McEnroe.
That's a scoring decision for Ross Schneiderman, whether that was an unforced error or not.
$15-all.
And that was the first unforced error. That's the scoring decision. McEnroe had himself set up and hit the lob long.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Peter Rennert.
Peter Fleming, who partnered McEnroe's doubles championship yesterday.
And Peter Rennert, who frequently plays with John and is a longtime friend.
That ball just catching the line. In fact, McEnroe thought it might have been out.
McEnroe with that superb racket control. No wasted effort. The top spinner.
Ball was well inside the line, as you saw. 30-15. Well, the first glimpse of the Connor brilliance that he showed against Lendl, hitting the corners.
Jimmy, if he can just keep playing and keep going, holding serve, may be able to play himself into this. He's got no place to hide out here.
On the line.
40-30.
McEnroe, 2 sets ahead, not too much to worry about, but this is a pressure point for Connors. Can he hang on to McEnroe's coattails? Or shirt tails in this case.
And one basic difference between these two players, Connor's not the man that McEnroe is at the net. McEnroe devastating. Connors with that two-fisted backhand, tougher with a volley. And now 2 game points gone from 40-15 to deuce. Connors again handled a most difficult return.
Connors is groveling to make those volleys.
A point from 2-all. It's wide.
Terrific second serve.
It's 2-all in the third. A week ago, we talked about Kevin Curran, who beat Connors in last year's tournament. Curran, before his match with Krishnan on Saturday, had learned that his father, Ron, had died of a heart attack in South Africa. And just to finish up that news, tomorrow will be the funeral of Ron Curran, who died at 62. Kevin, heavy heart, went on and won that match a week ago and was involved in both of the doubles tournaments and finally lost yesterday and has made his way home. He said that he was going to play because that's what his father had wanted.
Oh boy. Connors seeing McEnroe
15 love.
tight to the net, as you will see right here, as we ISO McEnroe. How quickly he's in there. Hardly a pause at the tee. Tight and reacting to the overhead opportunity, the lob with that smash.
30 love.
8th ace for McEnroe. We have not only out serving Connors, but who would be able to handle the way this man is playing today.
James Scott Connors giving his usual 101% just to try to keep it going, not hanging his head, but certainly getting the nose down as he lunges for everything. It's being kept off balance.
Game,
McEnroe. McEnroe in this set, 3 service opportunities, has allowed only 1 point.
Dear Xerox, I want to thank the memory writer for making my job a pleasure.
Everything I type looks like $1,000,000.
The secretary who sits next to me will have to get her own. I don't like to share them.
These are actual letters from secretaries all over the country.
It's cut my workload in half and doubled my productivity.
When we have to use another machine, it's like going from a Rolls Royce to a mule.
And that's why no electronic typewriter sells better than the memory writer. Part of Team Xerox.
It would certainly be more dramatic to show you crew members frantically trying to keep a load of cargo in place during a storm. But at Cigna, we have engineers all over the world to make sure our clients' cargo and our clients' ships can weather nearly anything that comes up. Because we realize that when you have property on the ocean, few things are as appealing as an undramatic trip. Cigna, no one does more to solve problems.
Welcome back to center court. We want to send a special welcome back to the firing line to Jeff Culliver, one of our key NBC friends who's back on his feet. Hope he's enjoying the telecast. Good to know that he's feeling okay. Jimmy Connors struggling to stay even with McEnroe in this 3rd set, down 2 sets. In the mixed doubles, the defending champions are through to the final, which will follow this one. We'll have it for you live. Wendy Turnbull and John Lloyd, so that'll be a popular team for the fans here in England. Beautifully disguised. Connors saw the lob indicated, but thought it would be to the other corner and had no chance. It appears that Steve Denton and Kathy Jordan, a U.S. pair, will be their opponents. They're playing in the semifinals over in Court 1 and are up a set and lead 5-4 in the 2nd set.
15.
Good jammer. Steve Denton was in that final last year, you remember, alongside Billie Jean King. Billie Jean missing Wimbledon this year. She had entered the mixed doubles with Vijay Amritraj, but she had too many other things doing. She was doing a lot of television work. She had to withdraw.
So another milestone in this great history of this championship. I did too.
Her first Wimbledon in 1961.
Everything hit solidly and low to the net. And Connors, who usually is a top 3 service percentage, 68% today, and it's McEnroe, who is tough when he's hitting 1 out of 2, hitting 3 out of 4 first serves in.
30 all.
Each point, high pressure for Connors. Just to hold serve, just to keep hanging in somehow.
While the other man just whips through his service chances without even the mildest of threat.
Tough ball. Oh, gee.
40.
Oh, I thought that was going to be in. It was just out.
A wobbler. But Jimmy Connors has been on this court before. He knows how to judge those balls, although he's had more grief in center court than glory, actually.
A point from 3 all. Well, his very first appearance was not a very happy one, was it? Against Ken Rosewall 10 years ago.
Very, very happy. Oh,
deuce.
fourth double fault. That's when Rosewall with the aging legs couldn't quite handle the youthful Connors, and it was a very quick victory, straight sets for Connors.
But then it was a long wait for the next title till 82.
And he lost 3 other chances. He ran into the Borg years.
Advantage, McEnroe.
That forehand return has been so lethal today.
The first break point of this third set, and McEnroe has capitalized on just about every opportunity in the earlier sets. This could be the biggest point of the match for Connors.
Game, McEnroe.
And McEnroe has broken to take a 4-2 lead.
McEnroe leads
and
by
it seems
4
quite
games
apparent
to 2.
now that
Third
John
set.
McEnroe is going to be the champion in '84. In 10 service games, he has allowed only 10
now, please,
points
ladies
to
and gentlemen.
Connors. 10 points in
Let the
10
players
games
play,
on serve.
Thank
And
you.
now just 2 games away from the championship.
Fault called, a late call.
But the defensive lob kept him in the point.
And McEnroe may have made a mistake here when he let the ball drop instead of picking it out of the air. It gave Jimmy time to group, but you see the top of his head, and he read cross court. But McEnroe can make a mistake once in a while.
That superior talent at the net, just handling that
15-4.
sizzling drive from Connors and putting Jimmy in a position where he couldn't get the ball back. 15-all. Fan of McEnroe or not, I have to admire how this champion's playing today.
Oh, he's an
30,
artist.
15.
An artist with racket.
10 aces for McEnroe.
Serve the nice easy motion. You have no idea his eyes are averted when he serves.
Another
40,
ace.
15.
His 11th, even though Connors nicked it. Yeah, he's like a good baseball pitcher using the windup to hide the ball from the hitter, and you don't know quite where it's coming from. McEnroe does not tip his shot. 11 service games, 11 points allowed.
The artist in his studio, John McEnroe.
Game, McEnroe.
Game to John McEnroe. He leads 5-2, a game away from the championship. And just in, Denton and Jordan have won in straight sets
by 5 games
to advance to the mixed doubles
set.
championship,
And by
and we will
Now,
see them play Turnbull and Lloyd.
Watch this volley from the hip. Just little limp, but firm. Looks so easy when he does it. And John McEnroe sitting with his back to all those photographers there. This is the different guy from Paris.
He's been in the last 5 championships, counting this one. Winning last year, losing to Connors in '82. Winning in '81 against Borg, losing to Borg in '80.
Not a peep. I have a feeling about Paris when he was ahead 2 sets to love. He led Lendl in the 3rd set. 2 games to 1. Lendl was serving love 30. It was all Connors, and it was then that he marched over to the photographers and began bickering and pulling at their equipment. And he didn't win that game. If he wins that game from love 30, as it appeared he was going to, 3-1 with a break, I think he's the champion. He's leaving him alone. They're the same photographers. Carol Newsom, John Russell, Russ Adams, Steve Zwirly, David Wahlberg, Art Seitz, Angelo Tonelli, Eiji Kawadi. They're all over the world. Russo Adamo. But he hasn't said a peep to them.
33-11 in winners, 3-1 for McEnroe, who has lost only once in 53, this being the 53rd match this year.
Love 15.
And has saved perhaps his best of a brilliant season for today at Wimbledon. There are the men with the cameras.
And the women.
The winningest man singles in Wimbledon history, Jimmy Connors, 68 wins, but John McEnroe, as he accepts another double fault, the 5th by Connors, to go 2 points from victory. John McEnroe. It's been 46 years since an American won successive Wimbledons. Don Budge is here to watch John McEnroe equal that mark, and he will become only the 2nd man. Match point, only the 2nd to win 3 Wimbledon titles. Bill Tilden, the other American, as he's 1 point away from defeating his American Davis Cup teammate, Jimmy Connors.
Tilden in 19, 20, 21, and 30.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, quiet. Thank you.
Triple match point. Tennis genius on this hot England afternoon. 6-1, 6-1, 6-2. The champion is John McEnroe.
6-1, 6-1, 6-1.
New Director TXD. You can play with it or against it. The choice is yours.
71 years after Alexander Graham Bell uttered, "Watson, come here," Bell Laboratories invented the transistor and ushered in the computer age.
Gentlemen, we've done it.
Well, Watson, watch us now. Introducing AT&T computers with flexibility to grow, to network, to communicate. The new computers from AT&T Information Systems, when you've got to be right.
Now is not the time to play the market. It may be the time, though, to invest in the market. The time that investors will point to a year or 2 from now and see the signals the serious investors saw. That will be the difference between hindsight and foresight, and the difference between those who invested their time and those who did not. Shearson Lehman American Express and the serious investor. Minds over money.
Championship point, John McEnroe. It's fitting in a day where he was nearly perfect in his play that he should beat Connors. A love game on Connors serve. 3rd time, John McEnroe at age 25, champion of Wimbledon. 6-1, 6-1, 6-2. He broke Connors' serve 7 times. There he is, live, breakfast at Wimbledon, and the main dish for McEnroe was Jimmy Connors. McEnroe, watch as the Duke and Duchess of Kent make their approach onto center court for the championship trophy presentation. remind you that we have more live action for you. The mixed doubles will feature John Lloyd and Wendy Turnbull, the defending champions, against the American team of Steve Denton and Kathy Jordan. Thus far, it has been an all-American Wimbledon. Navratilova, the singles winner. McEnroe today. Navratilova and Shriver the doubles. McEnroe and Fleming the doubles. So Lloyd and Turnbull will endeavor to deny the sweep. Well, it is exciting, isn't it, when a great player saves perhaps his very best for such an important championship. And in the mind of John McEnroe, he must be saying, I have played the game that I've been looking for 25 years. How can you be better than that? Don Budge, 46 years ago, the last American to make that walk in successive years. And the only other American who will have his name on that trophy 3 times, Bill Tilden, who won his third 54 years ago. And the 2-time champion, Jimmy Connors, his all-out style applauded throughout this tournament, but 100% was not enough against McEnroe today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the umpire, Mr. D.J. Mercer.
David Mercer with an outstanding job in the chair. Slight break in tradition this year, the use of the public address system to announce the chair umpire. And the tournament referee, Alan Mills, undoubtedly will be introduced as well. In the past, there were no such announcements. You either knew the people involved in the ceremony,
the championship's referee, Mr. Alan Mills.
Well, Alan Mills, many thought he would have a busy championship with all the free Wimbledon publicity about John McEnroe, and would there be a thought that his behavior would cause a disqualification? Goodness, did he answer. Jimmy Connors, it's toughest of all to do the best you can and be so well beaten. Hawkeyes of Connors. Such a
Ladies and gentlemen, His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, President of the All England Club, will now make a special presentation to Commander Charles Lane, who for the past 18 years has trained so devotedly the ball boys and girls at the championships, and who is now retiring from his duties. Commander Lane.
Now, these young boys and girls who are so superb in their contribution to these championships, and there's the reason why. Charles Lane, the commander, and these young pupils of his go to school. How to kneel, everything, how to roll the ball, the proper court etiquette. And the players commenting on how outstanding that they are and assisting them in the course of play. 18 years Charles Lane has made that contribution to this championship, and this is always special. The little time taken by the president of the All England Club, Duke of Kent, and the Duchess of Kent to share their good wishes to the principals here at Wimbledon. John McEnroe at the start of this year said he had 3 goals, and apparently he has met them all. The first was he wanted to be thought of as an athlete, not a celebrity. That was a great athlete performing on this green stage today. Second, he said, I want to improve my game in general, be better all around, and stay healthy. That he has accomplished. And maybe the most important is the third. I want to improve my court behavior. He said, I planned that for quite a few years, but doggone it, sometimes I don't behave. And he did not at Paris in the French Open. And he did not at the Queen's Club Championship prior to this one. But they call it the Gentleman's Trophy. And a gentleman won it in this championship. John McEnroe was all of that. And maybe that's the start of a new McEnroe. I, for one, would applaud that. You enjoyed him and you liked him in this championship. Jimmy Connors gave him the fight the best he could. But it's kind of tough to swallow when you see only 4 games up on the scoreboard under your name. A reminder again, Charlie Jones, Stan Smith will have live for you the Mixed Doubles Championship. Turnbull of Australia, Lloyd of England against the American team of Steve Denton and Kathy Jordan. Well, most certainly at 25, that's the man we'll be talking about again next year, John McEnroe. As McEnroe, a rare victory lap, sharing that trophy in this championship with all. And with so much ahead for John McEnroe, how many more times will we see J.P. McEnroe on that trophy? May indeed be the all-time American player in this championship. Unlike the McEnroe we saw in France, who was exhausted, as was the winner Yvonne Lendl, who refused to make any announcement to the fans at Roland Garros Stadium, but a very convivial sharing champion at Wimbledon today. Bud Collins is standing by, and as the players make their exit, we'll have a chance to get their remarks. You know, McEnroe's not talked to television prior to today. They're on their way to Bud Collins.
And they'll be coming around the corner. John, could you wait just a minute while we talk to Jimmy? Jimmy, may I have a word? And Jimmy doesn't want to speak. You seemed in a great hurry. Congratulations, champion.
Well, after the French, I didn't want to. I was up 2 sets there, and I was playing really well, so I just wanted to... I mean, it's one of the greatest matches I've ever played. I felt like I was serving really well. I must have served at least 70. It felt like 70, 75% first serves, and
that's right.
I was just hitting the ball really solid, and he seemed a little about half a step slow in his shots, and I was just really taking advantage of it, and I got a few breaks on leg cords and just played like probably the best match I've ever played.
You realize that you made a grand total of 2 unforced errors?
I didn't know that. I'm glad to hear that finally I've gone into a match and played, you know, real solid. I got a few bad bounces on a couple backhand returns. You know, I felt like I was going to hit pretty well, but, you know, I didn't miss. I obviously must not have missed too many easy shots.
Let's go back to Paris for a moment. What did that defeat do to you from 2 sets down?
Well, I got a little tired there in like the 4th set, and you know, I still had a chance at 4-2 in the 4th set, but he hung in there pretty good in that match, and I choked that a little bit, so I just didn't want the same thing to happen here.
Choked?
Yeah, just you know, I had a chance to wrap it up and wasn't able to, but today I played really consistently well from the start, and I felt real good out there and real relaxed, and you know, I wasn't letting anything bother me, and I think it helped me a lot.
John McEnroe, you have not said boo during this tournament.
Well, it's, you know, I said I was going to let my tennis do the talking, and that's what I did.
Does that help your tennis? Does that improve your tennis to avoid the hassles?
Well, I think it put me in a little bit more relaxed frame of mind. It's what I decided to do, and so therefore I didn't worry about it that much, which was good. And it doesn't help in the long run to get involved in the controversy, so I'm just glad that I was able to stay away from it. And if I could, I'd like to say hello to my mother right now, and I hope she's doing all right, and this one's for you.
I suspect she enjoyed that.
I hope she did.
What's the future for John McEnroe? Do you know, can you tell, will we see more outbursts? Can you read the future for John McEnroe?
I can't read it. I just hope I get better as a player and that I improve upon certain things. And, you know, that's what playing sports is all about, to try to reach your potential. And I hope that I can just get better and better the next couple of years. And if not, I'm going to give it a hell of a try.
Well, look at this face, because it's a true world champion, John Patrick McEnroe Jr. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we return to Dick Enberg.
All right, Bud, thank you. That's the first interview that John McEnroe has conducted for television camera in 2 weeks, and it was nice to hear the things he said. He's obviously improved, and even at that, he remembered a couple of points he could have played even better. The perfectionist in the man shown in his post-championship comments. First serve percentage, he was right on. 75% of them in. And when McEnroe serves that way, who can possibly give him a solid match? Certainly was not Jimmy Connors today. John McEnroe in select company. Don Budge, Bill Tilden, John McEnroe. Champion of Wimbledon, 1984. Back after these words from your local station.
Tonight, will it be Southern Fried Kit when Michael tries to save a Cajun cutie from her jealous husband? It's a hot night rider tonight.
C&R's entire inventory is now on sale. Every item in every store. Every suit is on sale. Choose from designer suits in pure wool and wool blends, including pinstripes. Fall arrivals from famous American makers. Every sport coat is on sale. Tweeds, pure silks, camel hair, designer blazers, pure wool, wool blends. All C&R slacks, shirts, accessories on sale. The largest selection in Southern California now on sale in all 36 C&R stores.
When the first airmail flew, it flew for one reason, to speed communication. And as the speed of communication grew, so grew business. Today, business has been changed forever by the telecommunications revolution. At the heart of this revolution are the many companies that are Contel.
Teleconference in Zurich is all set. They're waiting for you.
Linda, let's get to it. From telephones to satellites, Contel, architects of telecommunication.
Mind Games, starting Monday on News 4LA at 4.
Wimbledon 84, brought to you by IBM. By Wilson, keeping you ahead of the game. By the Bola family of imported wines, you can always trust the taste of a Bola. And by a company called TRW, where tomorrow is taking shape. So the fourth championship of this Wimbledon has been decided. 4 times an American has won as John McEnroe, the gentlemen's singles. And the fifth and final championship, the mixed doubles, will feature John Lloyd, Wendy Turnbull, the defending champions, against American Steve Denton and Kathy Jordan. But right now, let's pause for a tennis tip. I'm ready for any help. I love baseball. And Vic Braden says there is a connection.